Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in today Ahbi is going to send Tanu out of his house, and Prachi finally break Ranbir heart, so make sure you watch the video till the end to find out more, and subscribe to this channel, and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates like this. Prachi thanks Ranbir. Ranbir says it is my pleasure. She goes to bring coffee for him. She brings it and gives to him. His phone rings. Prachi asks him to talk to his fiancée. He will talk when he wants and not on someone's insistence. Prachi says I said, as you was not talking. He picks Ria's call. Ria informs that it is raining heavily here. Ranbir says you know that I like coffee in rain, when I am with the person I love. Ria asks if his happiness is this or something else. He says romance comes out eventually in rain. She informs that when dad got fine, he took my mom's name first. Prachi says Papa took my ma's name. Ranbir says Chief got fine. The call gets disconnected. Ranbir hugs Prachi and tells that Chief got fine. They break the hug. Pragya cries lying on Sarita Behen's lap. Sarita Behen feels her pain. Pragya couldn't bear to stay away from Ahbi and hopes he don't go through any trouble or suffering. Sarita Behen says when you want to take all his troubles on you, then why he will not get fine. Pragya says he must be fine by now, I shall go. Sarita Behen says I will not let you go, your husband shall come here and take you. Just then doorbell rings. Ahbi comes there. Pragya opens the door and finds him standing. Ahbi smiles seeing her. Allah Warrior plays. She couldn't believe and gets overwhelmed. He lifts her in happiness. Pragya says I was feeling that you got fine. Ahbi asks her to cheer. He says I am sorry that you have to bear so much because of me. He says I told everyone that I got my memory back, and I am going to Pragya, but thought if I remember your address when on the way. Pragya laughs. He asks her to pack her bags and come. Pragya looks on. Ahbi asks if she don't want to come. Ranbir thinks destiny didn't give him a chance to hold her hand. Prachi closes the window. Sad song plays. Ranbir asks if I have no value in your life and tells her that he has no interest in her. Prachi says you shall not have any interest. Ranbir says I stayed here, as outside it was raining. He tells that he got excited and hugged her, when he heard about Chief. He asks her not to think the nonsense. Prachi asks what. He says you couldn't move on and says she can't hide her love from him. He asks where is Path now. He says you had said that he is your everything and you share moments with him etc. Prachi says he is not with me now, as I found someone better than him. Ranbir says I know you very well now. She pretends to talk to someone. He says he is not interested in her third boyfriend. Prachi tells someone that she likes that US guy on the call. She asks if he is not believing her even now, then believe her when she sends the marriage card. She leaves from office. Ahbi asks Sarita Behen, how is she? Sarita Behen says you remember my name. He says yes, everything. She asks if he remembers Pragya now. Ahbi says Pragya has handled this mischievous child and tells that he remembers everything. If she had not taken him to have ice cream then he wouldn't have got fine. He seeks Sarita Behen's permission to take Pragya home and thanks her for letting her stay here. Sarita Behen tells that she wants Pragya to return, but few people in his house don't like Pragya and Prachi. Pragya tells that he can't adjust here, but she wants to stay with everyone. Ahbi asks for a day's time and tells Sarita Behen that he will come and take Pragya in the morning. She asks him to make arrangements of Gra Pravesh tomorrow. Sarita Behen says sorry for saying so much. Ahbi says you are more than her mother and can say anything. Sarita Behen says Tanu is in your house. Pragya said that Tanu was marrying you and tells everything. She tells that they will wait for him to come and make arrangement of Gra Pravesh. Ahbi says I will clean the house before that and goes. Ranbir goes behind Prachi. He says you can't do stupidity and can't marry seeing a random pic. Prachi asks who are you to tell me? Ranbir says I am boss. Prachi says this is your papa's company, if this was your company then I wouldn't have searched someone else. She asks how to prove more now. She says you are not important to me. Ranbir asks her to marry before his marriage, if she has really moved on. Prachi says I will marry before your marriage. She promises him. Ranbir is devastated and shocked. He says go and marry, but you will not get such a loving guy like me. He gets teary eyes. Ria calls him. Ranbir picks the call. Ria asks what happened. Ranbir says something get in his eyes. Ria says you seems to be tired and asks him to wash his face. Ranbir thinks he is tired of proving his love. Prachi says the guy she will marry will love her more than him, as she is such that people loves her. Ranbir cries. Ria and Alia's photo frame falling down in the former's room. Ria thinks when I told Vikram uncle and Pallavi auntie about dad's recovery, they were happy, but when I told Buji, Tanu and Mitali, they got tensed. Mitali tells Alia that she will hide Tanu in her room. Alia asks her to let her think. Mitali says you both are mad. She asks them to understand her and says Ahbi just knows that Pragya had taken care of him as Gayatri, but Daddy didn't tell that you want to marry him. Tanu tells that Pragya might have told Ahbi by now. She says my destiny is bad, I thought Ahbi will get fine after marrying me, but he got fine before marriage. Alia blames Tanu for drinking that day. Tanu says I didn't drink. Alia says you can drink and blames her for spoiling her plan. Tanu says it was not my mistake, you didn't plan well. She says I am the victim, don't know how he will behave when he returns. Mitali asks Alia to give some solution. Just then they hear Ahbi throwing Alia and Tanu's bags. Tanu hides and looks Ahbi. Alia asks what is he doing. Ahbi says clearing the house. He asks Alia to tell him if her stuff is still in the house. He says I came to know everything whatever you had done with Pragya. He says he will not be separated from Pragya, and they have forgiven each other for Kayara's death. He then scolds Mitali for siding with Alia and Tanu and accusing Pragya with bad names. He asks her to get out with Alia and Tanu. He says Pragya is his everything, his wife, love and the owner of the house. He says he wants to give right to Pragya which she deserves and asks them to get out. He calls Tanu and asks her to leave. Tanu says Ahbi. Ahbi says I don't have any relation with you, I don't want to have even hatred relation with you. He says I didn't let you come near me, when I was not in my senses. He says how to bear you, when I am in my senses. He asks them to leave and says else he has to throw them out. Mitali changes party and tells that Tanu had provoked her and Alia brainwashed her mind against Pragya. She pleads in front of him to ask Pragya. Daddy says let Mitali stay here, as she is Bahu. Ahbi says okay, you can stay. Daddy and Ria looks on. Ahbi asks Tanu to leave. Tanu picks her bags and starts walking out. Ahbi asks Alia to get out and says Pragya is my wife and whoever wants to stay here, shall respect and love Pragya. Mitali says she will respect Pragya when she comes home. He tells Ria that he knows that she loves her mom very much. Ria smiles. Ahbi tells Daddy that he will bring Pragya home, not only as his wife but also as the owner of the house. He hugs Daddy and says everything will be fine. Alia picks her bag and goes inside. Prachi thinks she shall not feel bad if Ranbir is meeting Ria. Pragya comes in front of Prachi. Prachi asks what happened, why are you crying? Pragya says I have good news for you. Prachi says even I have. She says my papa. Pragya hugs her and says I am very happy and tears are coming in my eyes. Prachi says let it come. Pragya says tomorrow your papa will come and take us home. She asks who told you. Prachi says Ria called Ranbir and she told him. Pragya tells her that Ranbir knew that she is Pragya in Gayatri's avatar, but didn't tell anyone. She tells that she was wrong about Ranbir, but if she had decided to separate with him, then it is her decision. Prachi goes to room and cries. Shahana comes to her and tries to pacify her. Prachi tells that she is very bad and Ranbir is really good. She tells that he is changing and she is responsible for his changed behavior. She says it was my helplessness to hurt him and I shall be punished for hurting me. She says my Ranbir shall get happiness of the world and I shall get tears of the world. Shahana says there is still chance as Ranbir haven't married Ria still. Prachi says you are not understanding and tells that only time can heal his wounds. Shahana asks if you can forget him. Prachi says she will try. Shahana says you couldn't take of his pick from the book, then how you will take him out from her heart. Prachi thinks she will live without her love, though it is not easy. Alia comes to Ahbi and asks him to tell where to go. Ahbi says wherever you want. Alia blames him for making Pragya as his priority, and making her as the less priority. Ahbi says he don't want to hear and asks her to go. He says I got you married and have completed my duty. Alia says you never tried to know how I am. She says I become stubborn and fought when I didn't get your love. She says you never tried to know the reason. She says you married Pragya due to my wish. She asks how can you change so much after marriage. She says when Ria didn't get her mom's love, she made mistakes. She tells that when I saw you going away from me, I kept Pragya away from you. She says if I had done 10 mistakes, then you had done 2 mistakes. She holds him responsible for her approach and thinking. She says I had beaten you as you was like a child then and I tried to handle you. She says I didn't let Pragya come inside, as she left you on stretcher in the hospital. Ahbi says Pragya might have gone to talk to doctor at that time, etc. and tells that her explanations can't change his decision. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure you subscribe, and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates like this. Like, comment and share. Fearless.